Good morning. This is Rich Nelson with Allendale regarding our comments here for this morning. Today is Thursday, January 22nd of 2015. Now, for outside market news here, we will point out that the European Central Bank did come out with its expansionary monetary policy program here. They announced that they'll be buying $60 billion worth of securities here. That did meet the trade, or did exceed the trade's expectation of only $50 billion per month here. So this is one thing we'll point out as far as the trade focus. We'll be looking at outside markets. As of current, the U.S. dollar is actually almost unchanged versus yesterday's trade here, but we'll see if any type of movements do happen here throughout the day, which could give us any potential movements on overall commodity prices. Of other interest here, they left interest rates unchanged at 0.5 or 0.05% here in terms of short-term interest rates. On the U.S. side, as far as our weekly jobless claims reports, about a 10,000 head drop to about 307,000 head. This is down from last week, but keep in mind last week was a very large number, in fact the largest since June. So perhaps we're coming off that little point of concern that the trade was noting regarding the U.S. job situation here. Now for agricultural news here, we do have a weekly ethanol production report that'll be out later this morning here. The trade will be watching this one kind of closely because keep in mind the previous week's report was actually the first one where based on our ethanol plant model, the average ethanol plant would have gone into a negative margin situation. And certainly the way these futures are laid out and expectations for continued steady to lower energy prices, that certainly could mean some trouble here on the corn side regarding demand here. At this point, we probably won't see a major drop-off for this particular week, but it certainly should have a drop-off from last week's number in terms of weekly production. Also point out last week's ethanol report was of concern for us, not due to the production issues here, but due to the stock buildup. In fact, there was a huge 1.4 million barrel increase on last week's stock number here, and that put ethanol stocks at a full 26% over last year. So we'll be watching today's report very closely later this morning. In terms of other news here, Brazil is going to restore taxes restore their taxes on gasoline here that they did have enacted about 2 or 3 years ago here. They also announced that they may increase the ethanol blend. Currently, it's at about 25% mix in their nation's gas supply here, and that certainly would roughly about they're talking roughly maybe a 27 to 28, an increase to 27 or 28% at this time. That's just market speculation here. No official announcement for an exact number has been released. In terms of other news, International Grains Council, they raised their corn production estimate overnight. They were sitting at 982 million tons. Now they're at 992. That does put them now just a little bit over USDA's current worldwide corn production estimate of 988. They did decide to leave their wheat production estimate unchanged at 717 million tons. USDA is currently at 723. In other news, keep in mind as far as the Brazil weather situation here, yesterday the SOMAR weather agency, they did point out that they expect 71 millimeters of rain here through the end of the month here for the main center-west growing region. That's, of course, it does include the Mato Grosso, which is the #1 soybean state here in Brazil. 71 millimeters, that's 2.8 inches. So keep in mind as far as this general talk on dryness in Brazil, it was limited to just the northern regions and specifically the northeast, where grain is not grown in any serious quantity. So at this point, the south as well as what they call the center-west are still looking very good regarding growing potential for the season. Over on the wheat side specifically here, Japan did buy overnight 142,546 tons of wheat. That's, of course, one of those package deals where they buy it from a little bit from the U.S., Canada, as well as Australia. And this comes off of yesterday's news that Algeria bought somewhere between 250,000 and 350,000 tons of wheat. Of course, while it was announced as optional origin, that's probably more likely mostly France, some Germany is what the current trade expectation. So as far as grains today, maybe looking at mixed, maybe a penny or two higher here across the board for general trade for this morning on grains. Now on livestock, we will point out that as far as hogs go, the main focus for this entire week and probably next week as well is trying to get rid of this backlog in market-ready hog numbers. We've actually done a good job overall so far this week. Week-to-date kill, this is through Wednesday, running at 1.261 million head. That's 45,000 head larger than last year in the exact same week. So good to see on this end. And now as far as this 45,000 head larger, this does include an unusual Sunday kill as Seaboard was not able to process last Saturday here. So realistically, we've probably only taken care of an extra about 35,000 head compared with last year's pace here. So as far as that goes, good news that Packers are being aggressive now and getting these hogs taken care of. We still need probably another full week to really get the trade's attention and make them feel that this market-ready hog supply is taken care of. On a positive note, the trade knows about this. They know that we've got this hard work of getting through this excess pork. But on the positive end, the trade feels we're probably at the latter part of this stage of getting this work done. In other words, the worst of the worst is probably behind us. We did see yesterday's cash pork trade up $1.13. And since Packers have a very good margin, right now running between $19 and $21 per head, we did see cash hog prices jump $2.33 on a closely watched Iowa-Minnesota run yesterday. So Packers have the margin, certainly to process extra hogs, and now they're starting to pay a little bit extra on the cash hog end. So it looks like we probably have that final low in place for cash hogs. Great to see, of course, many weeks delayed from what the trade was expecting. On the live cattle end of things here, mixed trade is called here for today. Yesterday's wholesale beef down $1.05 for choice and down 42 cents for select. We are watching this cash cattle end very closely here. We, of course, did have trade on Tuesday as well as yesterday in Nebraska. Yesterday's trade was about 10,000 head. The prices were $160 on a live basis, $254 to $257 dressed out. So this puts right now Nebraska completing about 25,000 head of sales here for the week. So a little bit more is expected here today. And, of course, we're waiting on the main bulk of the area, the Kansas through Texas trade here for later on. Now, with the current trade expectation is for cash cattle to trade at 160. We have heard some talk of a lot of people hoping for steady trade in the South, but at this point we do not see it. 160 should be the price that the trade is expecting for overall trade right now. Now, in terms of news coming out in the next few days here, or I say later today, we've got a 2 p.m. cold storage report. Allendale expects pork stocks to increase from last month. So the end of November number was 486 million pounds. We expect 488. Typically, they drop about 2, so this is a slight increase. For beef stocks, we expect an increase from 397 million in November to now we expect 411 for this number today, which is as of the end of December. So we have some more or less slightly higher trade seen for grains and more or less mixed trade seen for livestock, a little higher on hogs, a little mixed as far as live cattle issues here. Now, the biggest issue going on for us right now is all preparation for next week's Allendale Ag Leaders Conference. This runs between Tuesday and Thursday. We actually do have a couple spots still left for registration, so we certainly encourage you guys to give us a call here at Allendale. Get your spot reserved for it. Keep in mind, this one is a online-based conference. In other words, you log in from your own home or your own office through your computer. You see our slides as we have the discussion, and you also hear our voices. And you can certainly participate here by typing questions and whatnot on your special window on the screen, and so we can make this very interactive. So this is going to be an extremely convenient conference for you guys to access, and more importantly, we certainly feel it's one of the best conferences, if not the best one in the nation, for grain and meat research and price projections here for the whole year. So we strongly encourage you guys to get a hold of this conference. Get your registration spot. Hurry up before they get closed out. You can register online, which is allendale-inc.com, or give us a phone call here, 1-800-262-7538.